Hey, Leilani with the Magical Solution here. So, my last video gained a lot of traction, and I was not ready for that. And then I also gained a lot of followers. Super uncomfortable, really weird. So I figured I would come on and just kind of let y'all know how it goes around here since there's so many new people. So first and foremost, I know that you came to my page because of drama, and you probably followed my page in the hopes that there would be more drama, but I promise you that's not what this is about. And if that's why you're here, I highly suggest you go, because I don't say shit until I absolutely have to say shit. And yesterday was one of those days where I absolutely had to say something, but that's a very rare thing for me. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, you're not going to find that here, okay? Also, my pages are for education. I'm an educator in my real life, like offline, and I'm an educator online. And that is where my main focus is, and that is where my passion is. So anything outside of that would just be a plus. You know what I mean? Now, in this page, specifically, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all the socials for the Magical Solution, it's going to be a mixture of things. It's going to be a mixture of current events, political commentary, social commentary, some personal stuff, some funny stuff, and of course, educational stuff that might be trending, right? So that's mostly what you'll find here. Now, as far as I go, if you're wondering who I am, or if you're wondering what the Magical Solution is, let's just quickly go over it. So the Magical Solution, magical with a CK, you can find me online, www.themagicalsolution.com, is my small online business. This small online business offers spiritual products that I make on demand, handmade, offers educational classes, webinars, and live Zoom classes, offers live entertainment via my podcast, and last but not least, offers blogs and newsletter every month. All right, so that's my website. That's the Magical Solution. That's what we do. Me, for if you're wondering who I am, so again, my name is Leilani, right? I'm in my 40s. I have been a practicing spiritual practitioner. I want to say magical practitioner because that's what I've been doing the longest, for over 30 years, okay? Magic and divination were how I entered into the practice, and my skill sets. I was born a medium. I was born with the veil. I was always able to see and interact with spirits since the age of 2. So those skill sets is what led me to magic and divination. And then from there, I grew into my other practices. So let's get into that a little bit. So my father's side is Afro-Taino, so Afro-Caribbean. Okay, and my mother's side is your beautiful little trifecta, right? So she's the Spaniard, she's the Taino, and she's also Japanese, right? So these are the mixes that I have within me and where my traditions come from. Okay, so from the age of 11 through high school through now, I studied under elite esotericists in both Western and Eastern philosophies. I studied under them through my father and his connections. My father had very tight connections through the military and through other venues with very, very high-ranking and highly elite occultists. So Rosicrucians, Hermeticists, Franciscans. Like I was interacting with a lot of people growing up. These people would come to our house and break bread with us, hang out with us for dinner. These people would come, maybe spend the weekend while they were on their way, cross-trekking or whatever. And so I spent a lot of time working with them, okay? And that was all through my adolescence and all through high school. When I get to high school and college, this is where I decide to explore deeper my indigenous practices from my mother's side specifically. So this is where I go to college in the city, New York City, and I get to hang out with all of my cousins, all of my aunts and uncles, and I get to go to all of their Afro-Caribbean ceremonies and events and tambors and misas and do all of the fun stuff with them under their guidance and under their safety. And so, they explained things to me, they taught me things, I got a chance to meet their different elders in the community. Beautiful time, fun time, right? But this was also the time where, because I was in college, I was much more able to have access to information, to professors, to case studies, and to highly, highly intellectually elite occultists in New York City who were doing very big things, right? So an example of some of the very big things we were doing back in 2005 and 2010 were exploring things like online psychic phenomenon, because the internet was so new and everyone was trying to experiment and explore and create scientific studies around these things. And so, I come online in 2017 talking about, hey, we do online misas. People are freaking out as if it's a brand new thing and that as if I'm a fraud and all that, when really the reality is that they just weren't hanging around in the same circles that I was hanging around. I was hanging around espiritistas who were also college professors, doctors, engineers, scientists, right? And so these were espiritistas that understood evolution and understood case studies and understood how to bring science into our spiritual technologies, how to bridge those gaps. I was hanging out with those motherfuckers. And so to everyone who thinks that everything I'm talking about is new, you're just not with the right crew. That's all it is. Nothing to be ashamed of. And so that's basically me, right? So that's basically me in a nutshell. I was doing that in high school and college. In that time, I was also exploring my Taino ancestry, right? Because my father's Taino, and so I was diving deep into my indigenous practices and the diaspora, specifically the traditions in there and how I can reconnect with that, right? So that's basically where all of my stuff is. Now, in the meantime, throughout all of that, I was getting degrees, I was getting certifications, I was doing my work. So I have my dual degrees in spiritual psychology. So it's a dual degree where half of it is psychology and the other half is comparative religious studies through mental health therapy. So that's where the connection is, right? Reiki master, clinical herbalist, all the things. I got all of my certifications, all of my education was happening throughout all of that. Now, on a personal note, I'm a singer. I'm in a band. My full-time job is that I work as an educator and a counselor in the mental health field. And I've been doing that pretty much since I entered the workforce. And that's me in a nutshell. The Magical Solution is a wonderful resource, but it's not my full-time job. I do have mentees. I have people who study under me. And my style is very different from other, mentors. And, I do a lot of pro bono, a lot of free stuff for my community because that is what I believe. And that's pretty much it. That's me in a nutshell. If you guys have any questions or if you guys want to know more about anything that I do or offer, drop me a comment. Let me know. I would love to hear from you. And welcome to my channel. Welcome to The Magical Solution. Very nice to meet you. So, yeah. Name's Leilani. This is The Magical Solution. And this is how we grow. Bye.